Well, good morning, everybody. Grace and peace to you from our Lord Jesus Christ and all the saints here in Central California. It's a noisy day here at the network admin stomping grounds. Um, we got we got some new fibers being pulled in by yet another internet service provider. Not for us, it's for some clinics that are on the other side of our campus. But those guys are everywhere because the fiber pole goes everywhere. And every place I've tried to hide has had construction and noise in it because the fibers literally bounce from closet to closet. So it is what it is. So I'm over here hiding in the radiology closet. That's the or radiology cardiology closet. That's what it looks like. We've been here once or twice before. I don't come here too often, thank goodness. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about just what's going on, what I've done this week. And to do that, I'm going to draw some pictures using some old school tools. So I'm going to share my screen. So I'm just going to share this application here. I'm going to share Paint. Yep, good old Microsoft Paint. As soon as I find my mouse here, there it is. So what we have done this week, what have we done this week? So we had a new internet circuit brought in. It's not what I wanted. How about this? That's what I wanted. We had a new internet circuit brought in, and they dropped it off to their router, which would be this guy. So they came in, dropped their circuit, and we need to connect this to our firewall because what we want to do is move over from an existing ISP circuit. That means internet service provider in case you're in college and you're studying this stuff or you're like, new to the world. We're switching over from one to another one. So the new ISP brought their circuit in and we need to get it to our firewall. Well, we have two. So that's part of the problem. We got two firewalls. I'll put them way over here just to give myself some room. We got firewall number one, and we got firewall number two. They're in an active standby pair, so we've got a primary firewall and a second. Oops, come on, give me the text. Secondary firewall. Freudian slip. Yeah. So we need to get this circuit and make it available to both firewalls. So what I did was in my core switching environment, which there's four of those switches. I'm just going to represent it with one switch here. Just going to call it the core, even though there's actually four of them. 4 times 4. 4 different switches, and they're all cross-connected and all that good stuff. So I set up a new VLAN. I'm going to call it VLAN 1 just to mess with the network guys that have been around for a while. They'll know the significance of VLAN 1. And if you don't know, I'll explain it in a minute. So we created a new VLAN here in this firewall. We called it VLAN 1. Brand new, never seen before VLAN. 1 is just a placeholder. It's a different number, but I'm not going to tell you what VLAN numbers we use here. So created that new VLAN. And once I do that, I create it in the Extreme Fabric. And once you do that, it's available everywhere. Because you create the VLAN, you assign it an ISID, and then wherever you say, I need to use that VLAN, the Extreme Fabric will build up all the necessary connections to extend that VLAN to wherever you need it. In this case, I needed it over here, give myself a little bit of room, on two, I'll call them WAN switches. So this is switch 1, and this one is WAN switch 2. The reason I need it on these two WAN switches is because the firewalls are connected across these two. And really, I only needed to connect up the outside interfaces. So whether it's an inside interface or an outside interface, our firewalls are connected up across these two switches. These are kind of like our edge to the outside, not the edge to the user side, edge to the outside world. So what I'm going to be talking about here are outside connections. So we have, come on, we've got a connection going here. And hey, what are you doing there? Come on, give me a new one. There we go. And a connection going here. And a connection going here. And a connection going here. And now this is where it's going to start to get a little confusing for you. Well, no, I'll just leave it like this. I won't show you what it actually looks like because then it'll get really confusing. But basically, this guy is a trunk. It's a multi-link trunk to here and to here. And multi-link trunk to here and to here. And on the firewall side, it's also a multi-link trunk. So these two are actually kind of bonded together in one interface, and these two are kind of one interface. They call it an aggregated Ethernet interface on the firewall side and a multi-link trunk on the firewall side. So basically, here I'll put a little what one or two. So this one's going to be trunk number 1. And this is trunk number 1. This is trunk number 2 and number 2. So the trunk is actually spanned across these two WAN switches. So that way it's acting, I mean, the firewall will see just a multi-link trunk. It doesn't care where it's going to. It just knows that it's the LACP multi-link trunk. And it doesn't matter to the firewall that it's spanned across two switches. So I set up all the magic and the monkey motion inside these two switches to make that work. And so we made sure we presented VLAN 1. So I'm just going to say here, MLT 1 and 2, MLT 1 had the new VLAN on it, and MLT 2 also had the new VLAN on it. So on the two MLTs, multi-link trunks, multi-link trunk is sourced out of here, and multi-link trunk 2 is sourced out of here, believe it or not. That's the way we did it. So I made sure that VLAN was across the two. And so then we also, of course, had to bring in the outside circuit, the ISP circuit over here to this WAN switch. Only to that WAN switch. So, well, is that how we did it? Yes, that is how we did it. I might move that. I don't know. We'll leave it here for now. So here you go on this VLAN 1. So this router over here, it's out of my control. I can't do anything with it. The ISP owns it. I can't touch it. Just so you guys understand, So a lot of people that ask, well, why don't you just do this and do that to the router? Well, it's not my router. I don't have the admin account. I can't touch it. So you have to understand that's the way it works out here. It's their router. They want to mess with it. So all that to say that that's an untagged port, comes out untagged, there's nothing I can do with it. So, oops, don't want that. So of course I put this port untagged in VLAN 1, and then that, because it's set up in the fabric already from over here, it redistributes it to this whole network right here. Then on this MLT, I tag that also in VLAN 1. MLT1, MLT2. Which basically to do that, you just tag VLAN 1 on these 4 ports. So that'll present VLAN 1. And we've got several other, or 3 or 4 other VLANs also on these ports, because we've got 3 or 4 outside connections. So they're all tagged on these ports, so they show up over here. So over here on the firewall side, we had to add that VLAN 1 tag along with all the others that are there. We do that on the primary and on the secondary. So we did all that. Created it, couldn't get through, couldn't ping it. So what's the problem here? So what I did was I created yet another switch, and I'm running out of room to put switches on here. Created another switch. Oh, this one's on my desk. It's just a little test switch. And I set up a port. See if I can move this. Move this guy out of the way. Move these over. All right. So I set up a switch, and basically plugged my laptop, this very laptop that I'm doing this video on. Plugged my laptop in there. I don't know how to really make a laptop here. Let's see. Can I be clever and make a laptop? I don't see the shape I want, so I'll just do another little. So that's my laptop, believe it or not. So I connected my laptop up to that, and I also put that on VLAN 1. So untagged that port in VLAN 1, put my laptop on there. I gave it the IP address that we were supposed to assign to the firewall. And I disabled this port over here. So this port, how are we going to do this? I'll just put an X on there. So this port got disabled. So what I tried to do here is ping just the firewall. Since this is disabled, I know the IP address of the firewall. I set the IP address of this router up on my laptop. Since it's disconnected from my network, there's nothing to worry about. You can't see me pointing, but trust me, I'm pointing. So yeah, since this port up here on the WAN switch that goes to the ISP is shut down, no need to worry, right? It's not gonna matter. I'm not gonna get a conflict. Anyway, all that to say, I tried pinging the firewall, couldn't ping it. I tried pinging the firewall back, couldn't ping it. I said, huh, all right. So what I did next, I re-enabled that port, and I shut down. Actually, what did I do? How did I do this? Oh, I just went into the firewall config and deleted the layer 3, the IP address for that new VLAN, for that VLAN 1. I deleted the IP address for that. So it's not on the network anymore. Still had my laptop in VLAN 1, and I changed the IP address to the IP address of the firewall. And from my desk all the way through the network, through the ISP router. I could get out to Google. I could run speed tests. I could do everything I needed to do. So I knew the network was fine and the path to the network was fine. The VLAN was being advertised throughout the network. Problem had, but just to be sure, called my networking vendor and said, hey, take a look at my configs and tell me what I did wrong. So he looks at the configs and, overnight, I generated a tech support file for him from WAN switch 1 and WAN switch 2. Sent him those tech supports. Hey, tell me what I did wrong here. And he says, I see nothing wrong. The configs look correct. I said, okay, I just wanted to make sure because when I call my firewall vendor, they're going to blame the network. You know that. He goes, oh, yeah. So he said, you can bring me on a call if you need to. Okay, sounds good. Then I called the firewall vendor. Well, I did the same thing first. I created a case, created a tech support file from the firewall, just the primary. That's really all we were messing with. Once you get the primary to work, the secondary will work. We created a tech support file, opened a case, sent it to them. He takes a look at it, takes a config, and says, I don't really see anything wrong. Can we set up a troubleshooting session? Sure, we set up a troubleshooting session the next day. And we're looking at it, setting up packet captures, getting ready to figure out why we can't do anything. And did the same thing where I disabled the port going back to the ISP and pinged the firewall. We're not seeing any traffic. So I re-enabled the port. We're troubleshooting a little bit more. And this is when and this is the bright idea I should have gotten in the first place, because I do it all the time. I just didn't do it here for some reason. He says, well, can we just look at the traffic log? Yeah, sure. So we open up the traffic log, and it's all in a GUI, so it's super easy to see. And you can see it right there as I'm trying to ping the outside interface. It's getting denied. It's hitting the very last rule in our firewall, which is deny all. You trying to tell me that I forgot to set up the security rule? Yeah, that's exactly what he was trying to tell me, and that's exactly what happened. So we created a security rule, put it in there, and what do you know? We could ping the new interface we set up on the firewall, new aggregate interface. So anyway, that was this week's comedy of errors. My fault. Should have looked at the traffic log. So, lesson learned. And all the other firewall guys are out there going, well, duh. Yeah, well, it's a duh to me too. I'm not really a firewall guy, but that's still kind of a duh moment to me. That should have been the very first thing I looked at, because usually I'd say 9 times out of 10, that's a problem, is there's no security policy set up for whatever traffic you're trying to push through the firewall. So anyway, this is a good reminder. Good reminder. Number one, I'm getting old. Number two, check the traffic, because network traffic don't lie. If it's not getting there, it's just not getting there. Yeah, it's just when it hits that deny all policy, the firewall just drops it. It doesn't do anything else with it. So it'll say, oh, that's denied. So you'll see that in the traffic log. But if you do a packet capture, you won't hardly even see it. So at least I didn't see it. Of course, I probably set up the packet capture wrong too. So anyway, that was what we did this week. We got and in other news, we got the root cause analysis back from CrowdStrike, and I'll talk about that in the next video, I think. So give me some more time to digest it. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. So I'll just kind of give you my perspective. As a not a security guy, I don't know that much about antivirus software or anti-intrusion software. I don't know much about any of that stuff. So like I said, I'm a network hardware guy, not even a firewall guy. So anyway, let's stop this share and say that's all I got for this week, guys. Really enjoy the comments this week. You guys have been so much fun. And especially all the cool atheists out there. You guys ought to start a club, man, and you're always welcome here. I respect your right not to believe. I'm not going to try to change your mind, but I'm also not going to stop talking about my Lord Jesus Christ and what he's done for me. And he's brought me right to where I am today. From job to job to job to job, he's pretty much guided me the whole way. You don't have to believe it, but thank you for letting me believe it, because I'm going to do it whether you let me or not. So anyway, and yeah, all faiths are welcome here. I don't care who you worship or how you worship. You know, I just important that we all be nice to each other. So, all right, that's all I got this week, guys. Keep those comments coming. Keep those prayer requests coming, because I do pray every night. So, and those that have asked me for prayer, I do pray for you. If you like what you saw, click and you're still here, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, thumbs up, thumbs down. Um, yeah, and we'll see you guys all next week. God bless. And where is that? There it is.